Hello everyone. So today we will see how to deploy an app on the web. Okay. And the tools that we'll be using are GitHub, Google Colab, and Streamlit. So I have named this session as From Code to the Cloud. You build and deploy a live business dashboard. That's the objective of this particular session. So please follow the instructions. You'll have to create an account on GitHub. You already have a Google Workspace account where your official email ID resides. And through that, you can access Google Colab. And you'll also have to create an account on Streamlit. And then we'll see how step by step this will work. I've also shared a Python notebook with you, and we'll use that so you don't have to type a single line of code, and you will be able to deploy a web app, and you can use it to create more such products, software products in the future. That's the objective. Okay. So no prior coding experience is required for this. So what we are building, the output is this. So it's an interactive business dashboard that is deployed on the internet. You will get 4 business charts. So we are keeping it simple to start with, and you can make it as complicated as possible. And then if you make it more complicated, you will have to deploy resources. You'll have to get a paid account for a front end. You have to get a paid account for a back end and things like that. But to keep it simple, to understand the process, there will be 4 business charts, which will show sales, profit trend, sales versus expenses, profit margin percentage. There will be live KPI cards, key performance indicators. You will have total sales, expenses, profit and average margin. This will be updated dynamically. As soon as you change the data set, the charts will change, obviously, right? And it's deployed on the internet. You'll have a sidebar filter for which particular month you want to see the charts for. And you'll have that filter. You can filter by month interactively. It will work both on a phone and a desktop or a laptop. And there's a public URL which is shareable, right? You just have to share that URL, and people who have access to that will be able to see your work. Okay. Even the data you can take directly from my GitHub account, my GitHub repository. I'll show you how. That is part of the code which is already built in the Google Colab notebook, Python notebook that I'm sharing. So this is what we are trying to build. Okay. So there's a 4-step. There are 4 steps. It's a 4-step journey. One is write. You are going to write an app.py. When I say you're going to write, you are just taking that particular notebook, and that app is already written, that Python code app.py is already written there. And requirements.txt, which is about the libraries that you need from Python to work on, right? So you need some libraries. This is an open source software. So libraries are written by individuals like us, and people can access that. So requirements.txt has the list of that libraries. Okay. And that will be part of the Google Colab. Once you write that notebook is already written, then you go to the step 2, which is to push your code to GitHub repository. What is GitHub? GitHub is a repository where all the code resides. You can also use GitHub to create a website through GitHub pages, but right now we're only talking about putting your code there. And third, you will connect this GitHub repository, which has all the code, to Streamlit Community Cloud, where the app will be. And the link will be the Streamlit link, which you will share with the public, with your friends, whoever wants to look at that particular app. And 4th is deploy. Get your live URL, share it with anyone. Once you go to Streamlit and you connect your GitHub repository, which has that business dashboard, you are live, right? You have deployed the app. So I need you to do these things. You have to create a GitHub account. Okay, go to github.com and you can create a free personal account there. Then you'll have to open colab.research.google.com, which is Google Colab, and you should use your official email ID, which is on Google Workspace. Use that. And the third is you need to create an account at Streamlit, share.streamlit.io. That's the URL. And it's free, and you can sign in with your GitHub account. So first you create that GitHub account, which will be helpful in Streamlit. So GitHub has to be created first. If you already have a GitHub account, no problems. Then you can go ahead and use that. Then you need to open Google Colab and go to Streamlit. Next is, this is how you create a GitHub account, and there you need to create a repository, right? So go to github.com in your browser, click sign up. I hope that you already signed up. Enter your email address and create a password. Choose a username. It should be your name mostly, or whatever you want to give. Verify your email address, check your inbox, and then select the free plan when asked, and you know how to create an account. So you now have a GitHub account. Next step is you need to create a GitHub repository. Once you are inside GitHub, click the plus icon on the top right, new repository. Then the repository name that you give should be business-dashboard. I'll repeat, business-dashboard. This is for uniformity so that it is easy for me to debug. All of you should create business-dashboard as a repository. Visibility should be set to public and click create repository at the bottom. So your repository will be at github.com/your username. So for me, it is github.com/sanjayfloria/business-dashboard. So in place of my name, it will be your name, which you have used to create your GitHub repository. Now let me show you on GitHub, how will it work. So if you go to GitHub, so this is the GitHub account. This is my GitHub account. This is the repository. You click on new. Here you need to put business dashboard. I already have that, but I can say business DB. Just create that and then choose visibility. Let it be public. Don't touch anything and just say create repository. Okay, this is what I explained in the PPT. Now I don't need to create because I already have that. So I will go back to my home page. So this is what needs to be done to create a repo. Once this is done, then you need to copy this GitHub URL. So https://www.github.com/sanjayfloria/business-dashboard. Copy that and save it somewhere so that you have the understanding where your GitHub account is, where your repo is, the URL of your repo. We'll use that later. Okay, so keep it safe, save it somewhere. Then Google Colab. So open Chrome browser. In Chrome, you need to type colab.research.google.com and sign in with your institutional Google account, your ibsindia.org login, and you need to create a new notebook generally. But what I will suggest is, since you already have that notebook, I will show you how to import that. So let's go and see. Let's go to Google Colab and see how to import that. Once you have the Colab open, so as I said, log in through your institutional ID. And when you open your Google Colab, you will see this file option, right? You will see this file option. Click on the file option and click on open notebook. Click on the file option, click on open notebook. In this sidebar, go to upload. Go to upload, click on the browse button. In the browse button, again, you locate where your Python notebook is. The extension will be .ipynb. The notebook that has been shared with you is mdt-streamlit_app.ipynb. I repeat, mdt-streamlit_app.ipynb. Just select that and open it. Once you say open, it will start opening the notebook and you will see this particular notebook, which has different cells, right? Which has different cells. So this is a coding cell, cell 1, cell 2, and so on. And we'll see how this works. So in order to run a particular cell, that means execute that particular piece of code, you need to click on this play button, right? Once you click on the play button, the execution starts. And if you see a green tick in front of that cell, you know that your code is correctly running. If you see some errors, it will be shown in red below that. So right now it is running and it's saying installing collected packages and so on. Now I see a green tick in front of this cell. So this cell is run completely. Okay. Now we'll go back to that PPT and see how it works. Yeah. So once you have opened the Google Colab, you don't need to create a new notebook. Generally, when you are typing the code yourself, you need to create that. And then a blank notebook opens, but I just showed you how to import the existing Python notebook. Okay. So, and this explains what is a cell. Each cell is a piece of code, right? Where you write the code. So we'll be running using that Google Colab. Now, another very important thing, you have a GitHub account now, you have to create a GitHub token, a personal access token. Why does it why do you need that personal access token? So this token helps Colab to push files to GitHub. Whatever files you have created or whatever you have created using the Google Colab, that has to reside on GitHub, right? In GitHub, you created a repository called business-dashboards. So this code has to be pushed there. And to push that from Colab, you need a personal access token. So these are the steps. I'll also show you on GitHub how to do that. So go to github.com, click on your profile picture, click on settings, then scroll to the bottom of the left sidebar, developer settings, click personal access tokens. Be careful about that. You have to click on tokens classic, and click generate new token. Again, classic. We need to use classic. And node field, you can type collab-access underscope, tick the repo checkbox, the top level. The first option, there's a checkbox in front of them. In front of that, click on that. Click generate token, copy and save it now. Now this token only appears once. So once it is generated, you copy that token and save it in a Word document or save it in a Google Docs, wherever, and save it where you have also saved the GitHub URL, right? You have a GitHub URL saved, save it there only below that. So this token will never be seen again. So you have to copy it. You have to be very careful about it. Now I will show you that how to create this token in Google, in GitHub. Yeah. So again, let's go to GitHub account. This is my GitHub account. In this, as I said, you have to click on your picture on the top right, click on that. In this, you see settings, click on settings, scroll down on the sidebar. At the bottom, you will find developer settings, click on that. In developer settings, you have this third option, personal access token. In this, it says tokens classic. Click on tokens classic. Then it says generate new token. Then it says generate new token. Yeah, generate new token. Again, you have to click on generate new token classic. Click on this. Then you will have to use a pass key. So you can use a GitHub mobile or you can send a code via email. So I generally use my GitHub mobile, or let me use a send a code via email. Verify via email. I will verify my email and let's see whether I got that email or not. Let me check. So a better option here is to have a better option is to have a So yeah, so then you click verify via email, then it will ask for a password. So you can verify through your email. I got that verification code. It is 237 61026. I will just copy that here and I will verify. Once I verify, I need to give a name. So as I said there, business hyphen dashboard, I will give it a name. You can give whatever name you want. Then expiration, you can say 30 days, or I'll say no expiration. I don't need it to be expired, or let's keep it at 30 days. And then in the PPT, I said, click on repo. Once you click on repo, then you are fine. Okay, so give it a name. So I say business hyphen dashboard access or whatever expiration I'll keep at 30 days. And then I'll click repo. This is important. Then you click on generate token. I won't generate because I already have that token. Once this is generated, you will get a code which starts with GH, and copy that and save it somewhere safe. Then let's go back to our PPT. So this is an important step, right? This is an important step. Token you have to use only in your private collab session. It does not need to be shared. Don't share it in a chat group or WhatsApp group. Save it in a private note on your personal file or on your phone. Don't paste it in a public collab notebook. Generate a new one if you think it was exposed. So if you ask an LLM or if you give your token to an LLM, it will say always change that token, generate a new token because it is compromised. Don't commit it to a GitHub file. It should not be seen in the GitHub file. Otherwise, people might misuse it. And use a classic token with repo scope only. Okay, only for repository. Don't use a fine-grained token. Use classic only. That is for advanced users, right? So these are the token rules that you need to be careful about. Then we come to the collab cells, right? Then we come to the collab cells. So each cell has a different purpose, and I'll just explain this. And so how you need to run that cell, I told you earlier. Let me repeat that. So next step is you click on this play button. Cell 1, then cell 2, click on run, then cell 3. Now, in cell 4, you have to replace the token with your private token, right? It has to be replaced by your private token and your username, GitHub username and the repo name. So these three have to be yours, right? Repo name will be same business dashboard. Username will change. So whatever username you put in GitHub, that has to be put here, and token is this, right? This you need to change before running. Once you change that, you can run it. And once it is run, your job is done. Once it is run, your job is done. Yeah. Now it says done, visit this. So your GitHub repo is ready. Now you just need to go to Streamlit and make it run. Now let me explain each of these cells in brief. What do these code snippets do? What does this code do? Let's try to understand that in brief. I won't go into detail. So first is we are installing PyGithub. Now what does this do? It connects the Colab with GitHub, exactly as the name suggests. So the code is written in Python. In Colab, this connects with GitHub, right? So this is a library which connects with GitHub. That's it. So cell 1 does this. Cell 2, now cell 2 creates a Python file called app.py. So it says write app.py. App is basically application and .py is the extension for Python file. So when I say here percentage write file app.py, it tells Google Colab that you have to create this app.py, this Python file in the Colab virtual environment. You have to create, so it's not running it, just creating this file in the Colab environment. And the URL that you see here, URL https raw githubcontent.com/Sanjay Floria. There you see my name. Now what this does it, I have uploaded this data, the sales data month-wise on this particular repository, in this particular repository, which can be accessed through this URL. So now your Colab is fetching this data from my repository, right? So it is pointing to my repository and your data, and you get the data from there. Yeah. So this is where it is. So I can show you that. So if I copy this URL, let me get out of this. And if I copy this URL, if I copy this URL and run it on, I will just remove this. So I just copied the URL and I'm running it on a browser. You see the data set here. Okay. So this is a data set, month, sales, expenses, profit, January to December. So your Colab is just fetching this data. Okay. That's the only thing I'm doing. That's the only thing I'm doing. Yeah. Okay. Go back. So this app is created. Now, next cell is designing the KPI metrics, the key performance indicator. How should it look? Okay. What should the sidebar have? What filter should it have? How many charts it should have? So it says there is a KPI metrics, there is a sidebar filter, and there are 4 charts. So this code talks about that. Okay. This ST is basically a short form for Streamlit, right? This is for Streamlit because that's where your app will show. So it talks about what should be there on the sidebar, what should be there in the columns and all that. So it's basically designing the interface, designing the front end, right? So this cell does that. Then cell this again, then you have 4 charts and final dashboard footer. So what should appear below that? Figure 2, what is the axis and how does it look? So it talks about the size, the figure size, how broad it should be, how tall it should be, length and breadth of the chart. This it shows. So this is your cell 2. Then cell 3 is basically writing requirements.txt. Requirements.txt tells Colab, okay, these are the files that these are the libraries that I would need. Whenever this runs, whenever this code runs, these libraries are required. So you need Streamlit library, you need Pandas library, and you need matplotlib. Matplotlib is for obviously creating the plots. Pandas is for all the calculations, creating the average and all that, the mathematical calculations, and Streamlit is basically the app. Okay. So Streamlit, so to understand it in more detail, the framework Streamlit is a framework that turns your Python script into a web app. It's a framework. Pandas is a library for loading and working with tabular data. Matplotlib is basically drawing the charts. So this is what is done in cell 3. Cell 4 is simply pushing the files to GitHub. And this is where, again, I'll repeat, token should be yours, gh- something which you saved, hopefully safely somewhere. Username should be your username. I have written in the notebook, it would be Sanjay Floria. You have to replace it with your username, and repo name. Hopefully you have also kept it as the name as business-dashboard. Okay. So this is cell 4. This is all there is to it. This is all there is to this particular thing. Once you run this, you have created the app. So you have the code ready. You have the code ready in GitHub. Now you have to deploy it, right? You have to create a Streamlit account. I hope you created that earlier. Then you go to share.streamlit.io. You connect it to your GitHub and authorize Streamlit to access GitHub. Your Streamlit account is created. And then inside Streamlit, you click on new app. Then repository, it will show you a list of your GitHub repositories which are there. Then you need to select the correct repository, which is the business-dashboard. I will show you on that as well. Branch should be main file path will be app.py, and then say click deploy. Wait 1 to 2 minutes, watch the build log, and you are done with a live app. Okay. So let's see what happens here. So streamlit.io, I'll just close this. So let me open Streamlit, right? When I open Streamlit, you see these apps. Now, what you need to do is create app, click here, deploy a public app from GitHub, deploy now. You need to click that. So here you need to give the URL, GitHub URL. Okay, so GitHub URL you already had, right? GitHub URL is, so GitHub URL would be somewhere here. So GitHub URL is where you created that dashboard. So Sanjay Floria, for example, business dashboard. So if you are not having that, you click on, you go to the home page of your GitHub. Here you search for business-dashboard and click on this. So you need to copy this link. This link has to be, this URL has to be copied, which will be github.com/Sanjay Floria/business-dashboard. Just copy this and paste it here, right? So you need to paste it here. Then you have to select branch as main. Then you just have to select app.py, and this is the name which is by default. So leave it there, and you just have to click deploy. Once you click deploy, it will be live. So if I show you my app is already there. This is your business dashboard. Let's see this. And hopefully you should also get this app. See, here's the app. Now I can change this. So this is a very simple app. Suppose I don't want January and February. I only want from March, right? So there's a drop down menu. If you want to select all, this is select all. If you want to remove some of them, let's remove March and July. So you see total sales as 24,90,000, total expenses, total profit. And then you have charts, sales versus expenses, profit margin percentage. You have, so this is monthly sales. This is profit trend. This is sales versus expenses. This is profit margins. And you can also see the view raw data here. Yeah, this you can do. This you can see. This is what you imported from my GitHub repository, right? So this is the app. Okay. Now you can make it as complicated as possible, right? So now today you have created an app from scratch, right? Now you might get these errors. So a lot of you who haven't done this earlier, who haven't created an app before, you might be able to do it in the first try itself. So I would call it beginner's luck. But then if you have problems, you can have these issues. So look at this. So we will discuss that in the class. So what did we just do? We created a cloud native app. We didn't buy any servers, no software was installed, it is globally accessible. We have version control. Whatever changes you make to the code, that will be visible in your GitHub repository. Every change will be tracked. Nothing will be lost. You can roll back anytime. If you don't want to have a change, you can always roll back. Continuous deploy, push to GitHub, auto redeploy, no manual steps. So now if you want to make a change, you want to enhance this app, you just have to make that change in the GitHub repository and Streamlit will take it from there. It will be directly taking it from there. You have centralized data, one URL, one source of truth, no more emailing CSVs, right? It's there. Agile delivery, idea to live, idea to live URL in not even 90 minutes. It's less than that. So this is sprint thinking. Now, if you had to do this before GenAI came into picture, it would have cost you a lot of money and a lot of time. So you are able to do that in a fraction of time and fraction of that cost. So I'll stop here and we will keep discussing this. Thank you very much.